Well, hello and welcome to the We Are Power webinar. This is a really exciting and special webinar this month because we are going to talk about how to ace nominations. Guess what? It is the 10th year of the Northern Power Women Awards. I need a whoop.
Woo! Woo! Feels like a 5 minutes blink and it's gone.
I can't believe it, can you? You know, since that very first year at the Hilton Hotel, but even prior to that, getting those nominations and not knowing how many nominations were going to come in. 600 came in that first year. I thought we might have got a couple of hundred, and then they just kept coming. So, and one of the things I'm most proud about that these awards, largest events celebrating gender equality in Europe, is the stories that we unearth, the stories that we enable, the mischief that's made, the connections that get brought together. One of our winners this year is on a mission now to change the law,
Wow.
which, you know, we are wanting, you know, and to get behind, you know, so you just never know. It's not about one night, one dinner, one fabulous hand-blown glass award. It's about so much more. And I could talk about it for half an hour, but I am delighted to be joined by a fantastic collective of wonderful Northern Power women who have all been involved multiple times in some way, shape or form in this adventure. So tell us who you are and what your part has been in it.
Thanks, Simone. My name is Keisha Swaby. I'm based in Manchester. And what don't I do? I'm an author of a book called Empowering Dyslexics, Blessed and Gifted. And I'm also a supporting artist for film and television, amongst all the other things that I do. And I am actually on the Futures list, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Well done.
Brilliant.
Fiona.
Hello, everybody. So, yeah, I am Fiona Hall from Construction Q. We are previous winners, a judge for many years, had great fun sessions judging. Probably my favourite event of the year, I think. And a serial attender of the awards as well, because it's always a brilliant night. Why would you not?
Oh, thank you. Jayne Moore.
Well, I'm Jayne Moore. I was a judge in the first year and supported Simone through many a kind of stressed, nice day, sofa session.
Was that this morning? No.
It was all that what if at the time, and literally you didn't know whether it was going to connect and really didn't know whether it was going to work. And I think watching how the event has evolved over the last 10 years has been a joy. And I nominate lots of people. I've, Dr. Natalie Kenny from Biograd, who was a winner, and Joe Henney last year from Nugent. There's lots of people I've worked with over the years that we've put forward, because for me it's about representation, and we have to put ourselves forward to make sure we shine our light and help other women shine their light as well.
And it's a key driver of the overall We Are Power Northern Power Women Awards mission, which is, you know, we're trying to, you know, accelerate and drive inclusion and gender equality from up in the north of England. It's really important. And Fiona, every year we ask our previous winners and friends and colleagues to become judges. We are 72 judges now, more or less, you know, each year. And we bring different people in as well. And you came, we always, as a previous winner, we invited you back in. And after that year, and I'm like, you're in. You've got to always be in now, because you literally not just brought your whole self.
Well, I think I'm quite straight talking, aren't I? And I think when you're judging awards, what I love about the Northern Power Women Awards is it's so real. There's lots of awards events out there that people are just buying a table or I mean, any award is a good award, you know, it's recognition, it's good for marketing, for your business, but the Northern Power Women Awards just mean that bit more, really, I think. So I'm a very strict judge, I'm afraid to say. Very friendly judge.
Which is one of the reasons I like putting people forward, because I know the due diligence is there and the credibility is there, because it is so hard fought over in those judging sessions. It was such a revelation, you know, because the due diligence is done.
Well, we all say it's not Northern Flaky Women Awards, right? You know, because, and it is. And let me just highlight the process, okay? So I nominate Keisha. So I put down my reasons, my why, and I either put my long nails to a keyboard or I can voice memo. So we have audible voice memo nominations as well, just to make it easier for neurodiverse, time shy, whatever it may be. We have that, you know, we want to make it as accessible as possible. It has been for a few years. Keisha will then get an email to go, surprise, you've been nominated. But we want you to answer 2 or 3 questions, and it's a different question. It all depends on which category it is. And we've got guides. Please go wearepower.net/awards. You'll see all the information, FAQs, awards categories, and then you can see sort of previous winners. So you can kind of get a flavour of the stories. Then what will probably happen is Super Emma, who's our queen of the awards, will probably have to chase people at least 2 or 3 times because it's easy not to fill it in.
But we're also a bit reticent to celebrate ourselves.
Yes.
So it is about, you go, oh, I've been nominated. I don't feel I'm worthy. And that's
To the one side.
The issue of lots of women is they don't own that power and go, yeah, I earned this. I deserve this. And I would urge everyone to just shine your own light a little bit.
And we get some lovely feedback as well. That sort of sources. It's quite cathartic to write that down, and you suddenly realise, oh gosh, I'm quite good, and I am worthy, and it's good to high five. And the reason the awards were created those 10 years ago was to encourage people to high five those achievements. So why what do you think are the key sort of ingredients, recipe for a good nomination?
I'll go with that one first. I think it's knowing inside out what you actually do, and kind of, as we're just talking about, it's shining that light as well. Don't be shy about what you've achieved. We can be so modest sometimes, and we don't put out there, and we think that, oh, I'm sounding a bit braggy or boasty or whatever. But what you got to think about is, you deserve to be there. Why not you? Why not do it? And it's about understanding. Putting all the information, be thorough with the information as well, because sometimes you can put stuff down, you think, oh, I should have put that in. So sit down, take time, and being a neurodivergent woman, it takes me a lot longer to do stuff. So I have to plan it out and make sure that I get all the points that I need to get out there, and just put everything that you be proud of who you are and be proud of what you're achieving and what the difference that you're making in the world. So yeah.
And I think for me, there's lots of different awards I judge, from the Tourism Awards to Business Awards to Northern Power Women. And actually, it's all about highlighting those key achievements in bullet points as well. So particularly, I'm neurodivergent, I'm dyslexic, and judging is quite an arduous job when you're often fitting it in around the cracks in your life, usually on my iPad in bed, which to my husband's delight. And you're scanning through and really giving as much energy as you can. But it's really good to have a summary of key achievements, percentages of growth, achievements that are, logical and identifiable as a success. Because some people go, oh, I've done this for so long, but actually the percentage growth in the last year is X, up by 10, whatever percentage. Just give us those nuggets of things that you go, oh, that's a real achievement. In a kind of quick bullet pointed summary as well. Because those judges who are trying to see a standout winner, you want to find it easy for them to judge you.
So, do we make it easy for you to judge, Fiona? Because judges only get one category to judge. Yes. So out of all the categories that we have, and the categories are open to all genders, that's always really important. So whether it's the one to watch category, whether it's the agent of change or the disruptor for good, entrepreneur, small, medium, large organisation, there's a variety of different sort of stories to be told. But it is hard. So you get your pack as a judge.
Yeah, it's hard. You get so many submissions. And as you've said, you've got to fit that around your normal working life to read. And it can take a whole weekend of reading these submissions. So for me, I like to get lost in the story. I think it's really important, as you say, bullet points are brilliant to highlight numbers and figures. But I also like somebody's journey. I like to almost become really absorbed in what they've done, really feel for them, really fight for them. I think actually these are worthy of winning an award.
And that happens in the room, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's not quite the arm wrestle, but people do shout up.
Yeah, we do. And that's the other thing that I like about our judging process. I also judge quite a lot of different awards. And I love the Northern Power Women because we as judges get to discuss our thoughts. There's lots of other awards where as judges you're encouraged to keep it to yourself so you don't influence others. And it's not that we're influencing others as such, but there's different aspects of people's submissions that we don't necessarily consider. So it's good to hear other people's viewpoints of how they've understood the submission.
And the judges will score before they come to a round table session. And we do this category by category because we want to make sure everybody's kind of nomination is given the best conversation in the room, isn't it? And then one judge might not have any indication about what this sector is or lived experience of what this human has done, but will go, actually, I read it like this, and that's where
it gets quite feisty.
It does get quite feisty. That's why we provide chocolate and quite a lot of coffee. Now, we've talked about one top tip as a sort of a bullet. We've talked about another one, a story.
Yeah.
Can we make it a third kind of like good top tip there that you would throw into the mix?
I think it's authenticity. There's no point in using words that don't mean anything. It's about being true to who you are and letting your voice come through. And that's that storytelling, isn't it? Is really having an authentic voice. One category I remember the last rounds I judged a few years ago. Sarah from the Dragon's Den.
Yes, entrepreneur. Yeah.
I have never known anyone want to win this award more. She was so compelling. And I was quite shocked that somebody with such a high profile would fight so hard for it. But it's because she really wanted it and really cared about it. And that comes off in the paper and also on the video submissions.
And that was the lockdown years, actually, because we had to postpone the awards. Was it 4 days before the awards or something? It was quite traumatic. But on the night when we did it a year later, I remember when that trophy was hand-delivered to her that night, as it was to every winner. And we've got a great picture of her from a socially distanced kind of space with someone taking the picture of her with the trophy in her slippers and a glass of Prosecco. It's marvellous. It's absolutely marvellous. And it does mean it.
I remember having a great time in the waiting room, in the Zoom rooms with your mum, I think, and your family, friends from Spain. We were all having a great time in the Zoom rooms.
I'm sure they had a pan of ribs on actually at that point. But anyway, whatever you eat, it's all good. Yeah. Now let's talk about AI. There's probably not a day goes by, is it, that we're not talking about AI? Help, hindering? What do we feel? What do you think, Keisha?
I think what people need to understand about using AI is certain things like the one that begins with G. It's the case of don't think that it needs to do everything for you. You can't just expect that you're going to put something in. Write it out, if needs be. And then what you're looking for is a bit of assistance to make it sound how it should be. And make sure that it sounds human as well.
Read,
easy to read and human-like, not just like a robot.
I did have to query a minute then. I'm like, gee, what's G? That's not ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
That's what
Neurodiversity, I would echo that in that people think it's easy to write content through ChatGPT. If you rely on ChatGPT, you are pulling through from the internet content that is already written. Yeah. There's no original content there. So actually, it's what everybody else will be doing that you'll be getting if you get an original. If you want me to say, ChatGPT, write me a submission for an awards. Whereas actually when you upload your own content and say refine it, make it more polished, make it stand out in this way, it's about the instruction you give to AI. So, I am a big advocate in write your own content and then refine it.
Because if you just ask ChatGPT, why should I win this award? We're going to have 100 submissions that have the same 3 bullet points of why we should win this award. So it's quite easy to filter out which ones have been a little bit more individual.
They've all got the American spelling as well, haven't they?
Yeah. We moved the American spelling.
And
we moved the word foster.
Abbreviated UR. But
I do think it has its place. It can, a lot of the submissions we get are quite tricky to read and follow. And ChatGPT or similar can just refine that and make it easier to follow.
We did have one. Is at the bottom of ChatGPT, and it sort of says this is not verified or whatever, and someone had cut and pasted that in, and you're like, and do you know what? But it doesn't
matter.
It
doesn't matter.
But then if you want to stand out, it's not okay.
Yeah,
is the point.
One of the reasons that we created the additional questions was we would get some beautifully written submissions. So here's a beautiful written submission about Fiona, but it felt very polished. Could have come from an agency, for example, and and you will do this with and for your clients.
Absolutely.
Right? But we wanted that, so we got that other side. And I get that can still be written by agencies, but what can sort of agents and corporates, organisations do to tell less about the brand and more about the human?
Well, I'm a bit naughty when I'm judging. If an agency's written it, I probably score it down.
I think I do as well. Yeah, you can tell.
I am an agency. I shouldn't really have that bias, but it should be good if it's been written by an agency is the point. So we really work with the client to make it their own and make them own it. And particularly for this award, Simone, they have to want it.
Yeah.
They have to put the effort in order to win. So they have to do the video submissions. They have to provide all additional questions. So it's not one-dimensional then. So it has to be in a partnership if you do have your agency involved.
Yeah.
And never put the agency's details on as your contact, because you'll...
Another top tip.
Yeah. But the videos really help as well. I think that's what sets it apart, because you get to see the real person then.
So not every category, but most categories that are around an individual, if you get through the judging session and all that chocolate and coffee, we then ask you to record a couple of minute video. And we're very clear about saying it's not going to be put up on a screen. It's not going to be Oscar-like. You be you. This is the authenticity word that keeps coming through, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is as close as we can get to getting you on an interview in the studio. And then we feed those into the judges in WhatsApp groups, and then a whole other debate.
Yeah.
They're like your bezies, aren't they, in the WhatsApp groups, you know? But and then it's that kind of rethinking, and those videos can again change your mind, can't they?
Yeah, they
I
do.
remember the first year you did it, and absolutely it changed my mind a few times. And it's much more real.
What would you say? And I know we're kind of jumping ahead a couple of stages in some respects, because you've got to get over that written thing first and be stand out. So how do you be really stand out? We've talked about being authentic. We've talked about having some good stats.
Evidence.
Evidence.
Provide links, provide things that we can click on to be able to back up what you're saying.
What if you don't feel you've got that experience? What if you're new in? What if it's one to watch, for example? What if what are your top tips there?
Just tell a powerful story. Tell it as it is. It's no need to fabricate any of the information, just as it is, because if you don't tell the real story, you're going to get caught out anyway, because it's not the fact.
Because one to watch isn't about what you've done yet. It's about what's to come.
Yeah.
So just be clear about your ideas and what your plans are.
And it's what do you think from a judging perspective the weight is given between that metrics and storytelling?
Well, we're all human, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we all love to feel people's stories, and feel is the key. You know, that's where you can't really fake it. It has to be really real in order for it to connect emotionally.
Yeah.
Is that what you look for, Fiona?
I think the story's what wins me over, and then I look for the facts and figures to support that. So it's no point just giving me a good story if the business doesn't seem to, or if it's an individual, obviously it's a bit trickier, but if the business figures don't reflect what I'm being told, I can be quite sceptical, I think, as you know, Simone. So
that's important.
Yeah.
And that's why the awards have so much credibility, because they are so well judged.
Yeah.
One bit of advice I got one year, and again, it was somebody, I think either in Want to Watch or Future List, and Gemma it was, and she said, what I did is I wrote it, felt awkward, ignored it, thinking it was going to go away, and then I gave it to my friend to read, and then she read it and went, what about that? What about when you did that? What about when you volunteered there?
Yeah.
What about this? It's not a bad idea, is it?
Yeah,
sometimes?
absolutely. It's really hard to sell yourself.
Yeah.
So to get friends or colleagues to point out the things you've done is really useful.
And it might be useful to almost create, because one of the things I speak to my female clients all the time about is that kind of imposter syndrome. So what we do there in the first instance to get them accustomed to being in the spotlight is to almost fake a profile, like fake a brand persona. So this is what we want you, and I'm not saying fake the story, but actually create a brand persona which is outside of yourself. And that's the vehicle that you're going to promote to the world. So it's then not you, it's somebody else that you're promoting and somebody else you're looking after. You know, it's much easier to boost our friends up, isn't it? So in a way, you create your persona as your friend.
And then realise it's you.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Oh, I want one of them.
Almost like a little avatar.
Yeah,
an avatar of
that's
yourself.
what's going through my head.
I'm picturing yours right now.
What would yours be? What would your avatar be?
Oh, that's quite interesting.
like
I think
superhero
Superwoman.
author?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because I always say that with my neurodiversity, it's my superpower.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
So I would be like a little superwoman wasn't around.
So we talked about, authenticity, imposter syndrome, but there's ultimately, well, you know what, it's the largest event celebrating gender equality in Europe. May have mentioned that. I'm not going to win. 200 or so, finalists, I'm not going to win. Why should I bother if I'm not going to win to be even put my fingers to the keyboard?
I think it makes you feel good.
Yeah, you've got to try and see. Even if you don't win, at least you've put yourself out there. You've tried, and you'll learn from that. And from next time, you're going to do
just
another
writing. It's quite cathartic. I think somebody's got to win, haven't they?
You've got to be in it to win.
Exactly.
It's good for business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately, it's about profiling. You know, so many companies come to me to help them raise their profile, when actually you can just put yourself in these kind of awards.
Yeah.
And it's part of the job that we do for people. But actually, you know, it's there for you to achieve yourself. And actually, people do recognise you, and it gives you credibility. It gives you that depth of credibility as well. Even just being nominated and being in the room.
I was going to say, not everybody remembers who's actually won the award. That sounds awful, but it's just entering and being shortlisted. People just remember you as an awards person. As a business, we try and enter an award a year. That was kind of our marketing ploy. And for about the first 10 years, we did. We won an award every year. But some of them we were just shortlisted in, or we didn't win, but people thought we'd won them all because it's great to put on your LinkedIn.
It's how you market yourself.
Yeah.
Through it,
And it's the experience. When you walk into that room, and I was saying the Northern Power Woman, it is what it is. You walk in that room and you look around and think, oh my gosh, over 1,000 people in this room. You know, so it's a great way to showcase what you're doing and be in that space.
And the thing I loved, particularly this year, is lots of young women approaching me and saying, Simone said, I've got to network.
Simone said,
3 by 3 by 3.
Yeah.
So there's loads of young women came up to me, and I thought that's brilliant because actually they're owning it and really taking it to the next level.
Well, what year are you Futurelist?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Was it around 2024, 3?
I think it was 3. So once you're in what we call our game changer list, so not only have we got these categories, you can also nominate someone for our male advocates, our power list, or our future list, okay? Once you are in that list, you are always in that list.
You're not going to leave
Where's
that
your pin
list.
badge? And you get a pin badge. Where is it? Where is it, Keisha?
On the upper
Where's your
jacket.
winner's one on that? Okay.
Just
put it on,
just saying.
We're a big fan of community. So I think it was back 2020. I think it was probably in the lockdown years, and then onwards, we've always created WhatsApp groups for our judges, and always created WhatsApp groups for
Still
our
in that,
finalists, and equally our feature lists.
Well,
we've
the
got the
power,
Liverpool,
yeah.
we've got Liverpool, we've got different Manchester, Newcastle. We've got different, and we're big fans of community. We also know everyone gets a bit worn down with WhatsApp groups, but I'm still feeding those WhatsApp groups now, and it's a place that you can still talk about you. So not only have you got this brilliant night, this brilliant event, and of course I'm going to say this, right, but it's that community that goes with it. And 3 years ago we started the mentoring program, so every single finalist is invited to have a mentor as part of 12 weeks. And this is people that are start of their career, chief exec level, suddenly being a mentee that they never have before, but it's so important.
One of my favourite days ever with you, Simone, was mentoring those students at the NP11.
Yes.
And they were data scientists from all over the world who'd come and studied in Manchester. And it was just the best day. The energy of these young people. Yeah.
It's the give back. And this is definitely that is a community to do. So you talked about being good for business. You've talked about, sort of nominating each year. You've launched a book. Because I remember when we had our celebration event,
going back to that as well, that having that mentor from you that actually pushed my book, getting my book out there. It was just, that was just for me, just because when you have someone who's telling you that, they believe in you and that you can do it.
You can.
And she was absolutely amazing.
Fabulous.
And she helped me. She said, put a plan together. This is what we're going to do. And she was so high profile as well. She was like one of the biggest banks in the UK. And she was mentoring me, and my book came out from the back of that.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
I think that's
so proud of it.
Yeah. These are the stories. I always get that FOMO moment where you find out about it. We had a celebration event the other week, and there was the mentor-mentee relationship. It was beautiful. Flowers came in, and I'm like, oh, it's a bit early for my birthday. No, it wasn't for me. It was for a mentor. But it's this stuff. It's like we had Anne Stonehouse on the podcast a few weeks ago. She's launching this visibility community because of the relationship with her mentor.
Brilliant.
Now, if she hadn't put herself in, if she hadn't been nominated for the awards and follow through the process. So just, you never know where it's going to take you, right? You never know. And so what would you say, that one bit out there that people are still thinking, right, you're not quite won me over. I don't think I've got enough of a story to tell. I don't think I'm good enough. Why would that person either self-nominate, because self-nomination is okay, right? It's all good. Or why why should I complete this information, or why should I take time to nominate that person? Because there's a million awards.
So I think that women were very critical of mammals and events that are very male dominated. But then when we get asked to put ourselves out there, we suddenly become these shrinking violets and go, oh, I couldn't possibly. I'm guilty of that myself. Yeah. Which is why I've never been nominated and don't want to be nominated. Because I just feel
I'm on it. I'm on it.
But no, it should never be about me, because I'm the one lifting people up, surely. But actually, if we are to be truly representative, we need to find our voices and find our, bravery and put ourselves out there. So, the way I'm doing that is to say yes to invitations like this, which I never normally accept, as Simone knows. Actually, we have to represent and we have to say yes. And we have to be proud of our achievements in order to represent both to ourselves and to the next generation coming through.
That's it,
So
It's about
really
inspiring
important.
others, I think. So we like to give lots of talks in schools and universities to young women entering construction, because it's not as common as I'm sure you can imagine. And in the awards as well, you need somebody to lead the way. You need somebody to be putting themselves out there that the others can look up to and aspire to. So, and also it's free. Did we mention that? It doesn't cost anything to enter these awards. Why would you not? Free publicity, free marketing, and that feel-good factor of being that inspiration to somebody else.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, free to enter. Keisha.
As I say, it's about, as the lady just said over there, it's put yourself out there. Don't think that you're not worthy enough to win it, because if you're not in it, you're never going to know. You're never going to know. And as I say, it's not just about the awards. It's not about the process. It's what happens after the awards. It's the community that you have, the networking, the opportunities that you have, being able to be invited to things like this. It just doesn't stop there. It's just not like a one-night thing.
Invited on warships.
Yeah. How did that?
Who knew that was a thing?
And Simone, talking about that as well, I want to, I don't know if we've got to that part of the show yet, but Simone, you need to get your flowers. And I'm going to give you your flowers today. Trust me, because you're one of the most inspirational women I know. I'm getting a bit emotional about this. Because when I came in contact with you, I don't know if you remember, it was at the BBC where we did that project, 50-50?
50-50 project.
Yeah. And I've watched you from then, and I've watched your journey, and I say, Simone is she's just one in a trillion, I'd say.
Powerhouse.
Yeah.
Because you're just there, you're helping everyone, you put yourself out there, you work tirelessly, you never stop.
Never stop smiling.
You never stop smiling, no matter what
Never
she's
stop
going
taking
through.
selfies.
Even on the night, the selfies, she's famous for the selfies. And I just want to say, I absolutely love the bones of you. And when you invited me to this, I kept saying, Simone, I do want to come, but I don't know if I'm filming that day and blah, blah. But I knew that I had to be here because of what you pour into all of us every day.
Thank you. And I just want everyone to take that time for themselves, take that time to come to that event. It is coming out your comfort zone, isn't it?
Totally.
It is accepting that accolade, accepting those flowers, accepting that written submission, because Emma and I, so Emma, who's our head of awards or queen of awards, if we call her, so we will chase. And we do it in the kindest, nicest way, because we know people are time shy. We know people are feeling awkward and humble about it. Forget the humble brag. Just think, what, someone took time to write about this. So we will go, everything is done through our platform. As Fiona says, it's all for free. But then we will follow up on LinkedIn. We'll follow up. We will fight, just because we want you to take your moment. Yeah. So even when you're the busiest, take your moment in that spotlight. Final question. Do you know who you're going to nominate this year? Now, you might want to keep some of it.
Okay.
I'll be ironic.
It's quite funny.
You do get one every year.
Every year. It was actually probably not in the last couple of years. Definitely the first year I remember getting one goes, Simone, I've just nominated you for this award. I think it's perfect for you. And I'm like, oh, lovely, thank you. That's really kind. I didn't have the heart to say
I can't be in it.
So do you know who you want to, sometimes you might know the exact person. You might want to know, what, actually I want more people. I want to sort of really celebrate and look at menopause we were talking about before. I want, global majority is a massive, we had global majority winners this year for the first time, and that's been people say, oh, I can't find this person. Look harder. We have to look. We have to look to unearth the treasures. We have to look to unearth the stories to tell. And so I do urge, if you think, oh, that's not for me because it's, I don't see people like me or whatever, or it's not my life, please look and try. I urge everyone to do that because that's how we have the representation. That's how we take those stories out there. So do you know, have you got an idea, organisations, themes, innovations, anything?
Yeah.
You're keeping it all tight-lipped.
Yeah.
I think I now approach my daily working life thinking every meeting I go into, are they a Northern Power woman? And most of them are, to be honest. The people I meet daily are all amazing. But because I think these awards are so amazing, I've always got that in the back of my mind now. And I probably don't nominate enough. I've got better in the last couple of years.
You have?
But yeah, this year will be a bumper year.
Oh, I like that.
Brace yourself.
I love a bumper
Yes.
year. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Jayne, for just giving your time to come in today.
Thank you
It's
for
not just
inviting
one
us.
night. We're not for Christmas, we're for life, aren't we? I think you all know that. We've been around a long time. But thank you for just taking the time to share. So please do nominate. Put your fingers on that keyboard. Look and find the stories to share. They're out there. They're out every day of life. You will see them. Audio nominations too. We are open until the 26th of September. So please don't delay. Make it your summer homework to make someone's day, because it really does make someone's day. My top takeaway from this year's awards was Chrissy coming up to me on stage and just, I didn't win, but I've won because I've had the best night. I've got a mentoring program. I didn't fill this in last year. She was on the podcast not so long ago.
Yeah.
And, and it was a bit like Fiona. Fiona nominated me. And we'll also, we make sure there's no bias in it. You won't be in her category if you've nominated someone, so we are robust. We are serious about this and we do care. So please do nominate. Please stay connected with everything we do across all of our socials and make those nominations. wearepower.net/awards. Thank you so much for joining us today.